It all started on a sunny afternoon when I received a letter from the Homeowners Association, or HOA, that would change my relationship with my lawn forever. As I opened the envelope, I could feel a mix of anxiety and curiosity. The HOA had been a constant presence in our community, regularly reminding us of the rules and standards designed to maintain a certain aesthetic. However, nothing could have prepared me for their latest complaint regarding my front yard. The letter was polite yet firm, outlining their concerns about my lawn being too plain. It was an unexpected critique. After all, I had always thought of my lawn as a modest patch of green, neatly trimmed and well kept. But to the HOA, it seemed that my simple grass lawn lacked character and creativity. As I read through the document, I felt a wave of frustration wash over me. Was there really a standard for how plain or fancy one's lawn should be? And more importantly, why did it matter so much to them? I spent that evening contemplating the situation. The HOA's expectations loomed large in my mind. They wanted vibrant gardens bursting with flowers, intricate landscaping, or at least some sort of decorative element that would catch the eye of anyone passing by. In contrast, my lawn was just green. While I appreciated the beauty of well-designed yards around me, I had opted for simplicity for practical reasons, lower maintenance and fewer expenses. As days passed, the pressure from the HO began to weigh heavily on me. Friends and family joked about the absurdity of the complaint, but deep down, I knew that I needed to address this issue in a way that was both satisfying to the HOA and true to myself. The idea of simply adding ornamental features like flower beds or garden gnomes didn't resonate with me. It felt too cliché and wouldn't truly reflect my personality or interests. Then it hit me. What if I transformed my lawn into something entirely different? What if instead of conforming to their vision of an ideal yard, I created something that would not only meet their expectations but also stand out in a remarkable way? That's when the concept of installing a mini golf course blossomed in my mind. It was whimsical, fun, and certainly not plain. I envisioned a vibrant mini golf course complete with colorful obstacles and quirky decorations. Each hole could tell a story or represent an interest of mine. Perhaps one hole could be themed around my love for travel, featuring landmarks from places I visited. Another could center on sports or even local wildlife. This idea ignited a spark within me. It was creative and unique while still allowing me to utilize my outdoor space. But how would the HOA react to such an eccentric transformation? Would they see it as an improvement or just another deviation from their standards? These questions floated around in my head as I began brainstorming designs and layouts for the course. The more I thought about it, the more excited I became about the possibilities. Installing a mini golf course could turn my lawn into a local attraction, a place where families could gather for fun and laughter. Before diving headfirst into this project, however, I knew I needed to do some research. What does one need to create a mini golf course? How much space would be required? And most importantly, what materials would work best? My evenings shifted from sitting on a couch to scouring online forums and watching DIY videos about constructing miniature golf obstacles. It quickly became clear that this endeavor wouldn't just be about digging holes and laying turf. It would require planning and creativity beyond anything I'd ever attempted before. My excitement continued to grow as I sketched out ideas for various holes while also making notes on how to incorporate elements that represented both my personality and our community spirit. As I juggled these thoughts and plans in my head, I realized that this transformation would serve as an act of defiance against what felt like arbitrary standards set by the HOA. Instead of merely conforming to their vision of what a lawn should look like, I would embrace my creativity and individuality through this whimsical project. Ultimately, this initial complaint about my plain lawn became the catalyst for something extraordinary, a chance to turn an ordinary patch of grass into an unforgettable experience for myself and others. Little did the HOA know that their request for more creativity would lead directly to one of the most ambitious projects of my life, creating not just a lawn but a full-fledged mini golf course right in my front yard. With every plan sketched out and every idea swirling in my mind, I felt empowered by the challenge ahead. What started as a simple complaint had opened up an avenue for personal expression and community engagement that I never anticipated. As eager anticipation built within me, I couldn't wait to dive into this adventure, one that would surely entertain not only myself but also those who lived nearby. After receiving the HOA's letter, I found myself at a crossroads. I could choose to comply with their request and spruce up my lawn with flowers or decorative shrubs, which would have been the easy route. But as I reflected on their critique, it became clear that simply adding a few ornamental touches wouldn't address my deeper feelings about creativity and expression. Instead, it felt like a call to action, a challenge to redefine what my outdoor space could be. The decision to take action was not just about rebelling against the HOA's standards. It was about reclaiming my lawn as a reflection of who I am. I wanted to create something unique, something that would not only satisfy the HOA, but also spark joy in myself and others in my community. The idea of transforming my yard into a mini golf course began to feel like a mission rather than just a project. It was an opportunity to make a statement that would resonate beyond the borders of my property. As I weighed my options, I considered the potential reactions from neighbors and friends. Some might see this as an extravagant endeavor, while others might appreciate the creativity and fun it could bring to our neighborhood. In any case, I knew that by choosing to install a mini golf course, I would be stepping outside the box, something that many people shy away from when faced with the rigid expectations of an HOA. The more I thought about it, the clearer it became that this idea aligned perfectly with my personality. I've always been someone who enjoys playful experiences, whether it's engaging in board games with friends or hosting spirited backyard barbecues. Creating a mini golf course seemed like an extension of those interests, inviting others to join in on the fun and fostering a sense of community right outside my front door. With this newfound clarity came an exhilarating burst of energy. I started sketching out ideas for what the course would look like. Each hole could represent different themes or challenges. Maybe one hole could have a windmill obstacle reminiscent of classic courses, while another might incorporate local landmarks or community symbols. This wouldn't just be a place to play golf. It would be a canvas for creativity and storytelling. The decision was made. I would go all in on this mini golf project. But before diving into construction, careful planning was essential. I needed to outline what materials I would need and how much space each hole would require. With every sketch and idea that flowed from my mind onto paper, excitement bubbled within me. It felt as if I was embarking on an adventure that had no limits, a chance to break free from conformity and create something truly special. I knew that such a project wouldn't come without challenges. There would be physical labor involved, and navigating potential pushback from the HOA was inevitable as well. However, the prospect of pushing through those obstacles only added to my determination. If they thought my lawn was too plain before, they were certainly going to notice when it transformed into a vibrant playground. As I shared my plans with close friends and family, their reactions fueled my enthusiasm even further. Many were supportive, seeing the vision come alive through my descriptions and sketches. They encouraged me to pursue this wild idea, offering help along the way, from lending tools to brainstorming obstacle designs. Their excitement reassured me that I wasn't alone in this endeavor. I had a small army of supporters ready to rally behind me. In parallel with gathering support from friends, I began researching local regulations regarding home renovations and installations. While my vision was clear in my mind, understanding any restrictions imposed by the HOA or city ordinances became crucial before proceeding further. I wanted to ensure that every step taken was compliant while still allowing room for creative expression. As days turned into weeks, planning transformed into tangible actions. Armed with lists of materials needed and inspiration gathered from various sources online, I felt ready to tackle this project head-on. The prospect of digging holes, laying turf, crafting obstacles from wood or recycled materials, each task felt invigorating rather than overwhelming. I knew that there would be moments of doubt along the way, times when fatigue set in or when unforeseen challenges arose, but I remained committed to pushing through those hurdles for the sake of creativity and fun. The vision of laughter echoing through my yard as friends and neighbors enjoyed friendly rounds of mini golf kept me motivated. With every ounce of determination fueling me forward, I realized that this project was more than just about changing my lawn. It symbolized taking control over how spaces can reflect personal identity within community standards. It was about seeking joy amidst conformity, a reminder that sometimes breaking free can lead us towards unexpected adventures. As preparations ramped up for this whimsical transformation ahead, excitement became palpable, not only for me, but also for everyone involved. My journey toward creating a mini golf course had officially begun, filled with endless possibilities waiting just around the corner. With my decision made and excitement bubbling over, the next step in the process was to delve into researching mini golf course designs. This was not just about picking a few colors and shapes. I wanted to create an experience that was engaging, entertaining, and unique. The goal was to transform my ordinary lawn into a destination, a place where laughter and fun would resonate. I started by exploring various mini golf courses in my area and beyond. Some were whimsical, adorned with oversized props and colorful themes that transported players into different worlds. Others took a more classic approach, emphasizing challenging layouts with clever obstacles. I took notes on what worked well and what didn't. What made certain courses memorable? Was it the creativity of the obstacles, the layout of the holes, or perhaps the overall atmosphere? One memorable course I visited featured a pirate theme, complete with a shipwreck and treasure chests. The design drew players in as they navigated through caves and around palm trees. This sparked an idea in me. I could incorporate themes that reflect both my personality and interests while also drawing inspiration from local culture. Perhaps one hole could represent our town's history, showcasing landmarks or symbols meaningful to our community. As I continue my research, I stumbled upon countless DIY blogs, YouTube tutorials, and forums dedicated to building mini golf courses at home. These resources became invaluable as they provided insights into construction techniques, recommended materials, and creative ideas for obstacles. I learned about using various textures and colors to create visual interest, carpet for putting greens, wood for ramps, and even recycled materials for unique designs. One aspect that stood out in mini designs was the importance of balancing challenge with fun. A good mini golf hole should be engaging without being overly frustrating. I jotted down ideas for incorporating gentle slopes, tunnels, and rotating obstacles that would add elements of surprise but keep gameplay enjoyable for everyone, from kids to adults. My goal was to create a course that encouraged friendly competition, but also allowed players to laugh off any missed putts or unexpected bounces. Next came the consideration of space. With my yard being of average size, I needed to maximize every square foot available while keeping pathways clear for easy access between holes. I began sketching out various layouts on graph paper, experimenting with different configurations until I found a design that felt both cohesive and exciting. It was crucial to ensure that each hole flowed smoothly into the next while still providing its own individual charm. In addition to sketches, I created a mood board filled with images that inspired me. Photos of vibrant mini golf courses from around the world mixed with illustrations of whimsical designs featuring everything from dinosaurs to waterfalls. This visual collage helped solidify my vision for the course while serving as a source of motivation during the upcoming construction phase. Another key consideration was accessibility. I wanted this mini golf course to be inviting for all members of the community, families with young children, grandparents, and everyone in between. Thus, designing paths wide enough for strollers or wheelchairs became essential. Incorporating gentle slopes rather than steep hills would ensure that everyone could enjoy the experience without feeling left out. As my research deepened, I also sought inspiration from nature itself. Our backyard already had lovely trees that could serve as natural boundaries or shade creators on hot days. Perhaps one hole could wind around a tree trunk or utilize a natural slope in the yard as part of its design. Integrating these natural elements would not only enhance aesthetics, but also promote harmony between the mini golf course and its surroundings. Through this process, I gained valuable insights into sustainable practices as well. Many DIY enthusiasts emphasized using recycled materials or upcycled items to craft obstacles. Old tires could become colorful planters or wooden pallets transformed into ramps. This approach resonated with me deeply. It aligned perfectly with my desire to create something meaningful while being environmentally conscious. After weeks of research and brainstorming, I finally felt ready to bring my vision to life. Armed with ideas for each hole's theme and challenges, along with practical knowledge on construction techniques and materials needed, I moved forward knowing that this project would be an adventure not only for myself but for those who would play on it too. The excitement of creating something from scratch began to overshadow any lingering worries about the HOA's initial complaint. Instead of viewing their criticism as an obstacle, it now felt like a catalyst for creativity, a spark igniting a journey toward building something truly special right in my front yard. As plans solidified and designs took shape in my mind's eye, anticipation built within me like never before. The thought of transforming an ordinary lawn into an extraordinary space filled with laughter was exhilarating. With every detail researched and decided upon, it was time to transition from planning to execution. The next phase awaited just around the corner. With my research complete and a whirlwind of ideas swirling in my head, it was time to dive into the planning and designing phase of the mini golf course. This step was crucial, as it would lay the foundation for how the course would function and flow. I wanted to ensure that each hole not only stood out on its own, but also contributed to an overall cohesive experience. I began by taking accurate measurements of my yard. Understanding the exact dimensions was essential for fitting in all the holes while maintaining pathways for easy movement between them. Armed with the tape measure, I mapped out the property, noting where trees, shrubs, and other landscaping elements could be incorporated into the design. These natural features could serve as obstacles or enhancements, adding character to the course without requiring additional materials. Next, I returned to my sketches and mood board to refine my ideas further. Each hole needed a theme that represented a blend of creativity and fun. I envisioned a variety of challenges. One hole might feature a loop-de-loop made from PVC pipes, while another could have a gentle slope leading to a whimsical waterfall made of painted rocks. I wanted every player to experience surprises along the way, moments that would elicit laughter and excitement. The planning process involved carefully considering the flow of each hole and how they connected to one another. I decided on a layout that would create a circular pathway through the course, allowing players to easily navigate from one hole to the next without backtracking. This design would enhance the overall experience, making it feel like an adventure as they move through different themes and challenges. In addition to the layout, I needed to think about materials for each obstacle. I wanted to keep costs manageable while also ensuring durability against weather conditions and wear from play. My research had pointed me toward using materials like treated lumber, outdoor carpet, and even recycled items whenever possible. For instance, old wooden pallets could become ramps or barriers, while brightly colored paint could breathe new life into used tires transformed into decorative planters. As I sketched out each hole's design, I also took care to incorporate various levels of difficulty. Not everyone who played would be an expert golfer. Some will be young children looking for fun rather than competition. By incorporating gentle slopes and creative obstacles that require different skill sets to navigate, I aimed to make sure everyone felt included and engaged. To ensure accessibility across the entire course, I focused on creating wide pathways that allowed for easy movement. This consideration was particularly important for families with strollers or anyone needing assistance getting around. My vision was for this mini golf experience to be inviting for all members of our community, a space where everyone could come together and enjoy each other's company. Another aspect I carefully planned was landscaping around the course itself. Adding flower beds filled with vibrant blooms or strategically placed bushes could enhance aesthetics while creating natural borders between holes. I imagined colorful flowers lining pathways, providing bursts of color against lush green grass. Integrating these elements would make the entire area feel more like an inviting park, rather than just a collection of putting greens. Throughout this planning phase, I frequently consulted friends and family members for feedback on my designs. Their input proved invaluable, They offered fresh perspectives and suggestions that helped refine my ideas even further. Collaborating with others not only bolstered my confidence, but also made me realize how much this project resonated with those around me. It became evident that many share my excitement at bringing such a whimsical creation to life. As sketches evolved into detailed plans, it was clear that this project was becoming something bigger than I had initially imagined. Each element seemed to come together seamlessly. The themes of each hole flowed naturally into one another while maintaining their unique charm. The vision of transforming my lawn into an engaging mini golf course felt increasingly attainable. With all the details falling into place, it was time to start gathering materials and preparing for construction. The thought of moving from planning to execution filled me with anticipation. Soon enough, my yard would transform into a vibrant playground where laughter echoed through every corner. This journey had already brought me so much joy. Turning what began as a complaint from the HOA into an opportunity for creativity and community engagement was an unexpected twist I never anticipated. Now, as plans solidified and enthusiasm reached new heights, it was clear that this mini golf course would not only be a reflection of my personality, but also serve as a space where neighbors could come together in celebration of fun and friendship. With excitement coursing through me like electricity, I felt ready to take on this next phase, building something extraordinary right in my own backyard. With meticulous plans in hand and a clear vision for the mini golf course, it was time to tackle the next crucial phase, budgeting and material sourcing. I knew that bringing my imaginative ideas to life would require careful financial planning and resourcefulness. I wanted to create a vibrant, engaging space without breaking the bank. I began by outlining all the necessary materials based on my designs for each hole. This included everything from turf for putting greens, wood for obstacles, paint for decoration, and tools needed for assembly. I made a comprehensive list that categorized items into essential and optional. This way, if budget constraints became an issue, I could prioritize the must-haves while leaving room for enhancements later. Next came the challenge of estimating costs. I turned to local hardware stores and home improvement retailers, browsing their websites for prices. To my surprise, many materials were more affordable than I had anticipated. Treated lumber for building ramps and barriers was reasonably priced, and outdoor carpet, perfect for simulating putting greens, was also accessible. However, as I calculated expenses, I quickly realized that costs could add up fast if I wasn't careful. To keep my budget in check, I decided to explore alternative sourcing options. Online marketplaces like Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace often had great deals on used materials. I scoured these platforms looking for items like leftover turf from landscaping projects or surplus wood from construction sites. After a few weeks of searching, I struck gold, finding a local contractor who had extra outdoor carpet from a previous job at a fraction of the retail price. It felt like a small victory. Additionally, I reached out to friends and family, asking if anyone had tools or materials they could lend or donate. To my delight, several people offered help. A neighbor with experience in carpentry volunteered his skills to assist with building obstacles, while another friend provided some decorative items she no longer needed, things like colorful paint cans and old tires that could be transformed into whimsical obstacles. As I gathered materials, it became clear that creativity could stretch a dollar further than I had imagined. For instance, instead of purchasing expensive pre-made decorations for certain holes, I decided to make some myself using recycled materials. With a little creativity, plastic bottles could become quirky characters or colorful planters dotting the course. While sourcing materials became an adventure of its own, managing the budget took a bit more finesse. I set up a spreadsheet to track expenses meticulously. Each time I made a purchase or received donations, I updated it immediately to ensure I stayed within my limits. This organizational tactic helped diffuse any anxieties about overspending. Seeing everything laid out gave me confidence in my financial decisions. As weeks went by, pieces began coming together in unexpected ways. The thrill of finding bargains fueled my enthusiasm. It felt rewarding to know that every dollar saved was one step closer to creating something extraordinary without unnecessary financial strain. However, budgeting wasn't just about saving money. It was also about making strategic choices that would enhance the overall experience. For example, after evaluating potential costs versus benefits of various obstacles, I decided to invest more in a few standout features that would serve as highlights on the course. A larger obstacle like a whimsical windmill or a bridge over a stream would not only challenge players, but also become focal points that drew attention and created memorable experiences. As the sourcing process continued, I began assembling all materials in one area of my yard. This staging area became an exciting visual representation of progress as pieces arrived one by one. The once empty space was now dotted with stacks of lumber, waiting to be cut into shape, and bright rolls of carpet ready for installation. I kept reminding myself throughout this phase that building this mini golf course was not just about the final product. It was about enjoying the journey along the way. Each step taken brought me closer to realizing something truly special right at home. Finally, after countless hours spent planning budgets and gathering materials, everything began falling into place like puzzle pieces coming together seamlessly. The anticipation grew with each item crossing off my list. Soon enough, it would be time to move from planning into action, transforming this vision into reality. As excitement built within me at the thought of creating an interactive space filled with laughter and fun right outside my door, I reflected on how far this journey had come. From an HOA complaint about a plain lawn to cultivating an imaginative playground that would invite community members together. With everything ready and organized for Assembly Day fast approaching, anticipation surged through me like electricity in the air. The dream was becoming tangible, a whimsical mini golf course poised to emerge from what once was simply an ordinary yard. The day had finally arrived. The installation process was about to begin. After weeks of meticulous planning, budgeting, and gathering materials, I was filled with a mix of excitement and nervous anticipation. This was the moment where my ideas would transform from sketches and plans into a vibrant mini golf course right in my front yard. I started early that morning, eager to make the most of the daylight. Armed with a toolbox filled with essential tools as saws, hammers, and nails, I took a deep breath and surveyed the area. The layout was sketched out on paper, but now I needed to visualize it all in 3 dimensions. I marked the positions of each hole on the ground using stakes and string, creating a clear outline for what would soon come to life. The first step was laying down the foundation for the putting greens. Using outdoor carpet as turf was an economical choice that would provide a smooth surface for putting. I rolled out the carpet in sections, cutting it to fit around obstacles and pathways. As I worked, I couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment. Seeing the first pieces coming together made my vision feel tangible. Once the greens were established, it was time to build the obstacles that would add character and challenge to each hole. My neighbor, who had graciously volunteered to help with construction, arrived just in time to lend a hand. Together, we tackled the first obstacle, a whimsical windmill designed to spin as players putted their balls through its blades. We measured carefully and cut the wood to create sturdy supports, ensuring that it would withstand countless rounds of play. Working alongside my neighbor brought a sense of camaraderie to the project. We shared stories and laughter as we hammered nails and painted with bright colors. The process became not just about building a mini golf course, but also about fostering connections within our community. As we constructed each obstacle, I couldn't help but think about how this course would eventually bring people together, friends, families, and neighbors gathering for fun. As we moved through the installation process, I began incorporating some of those recycled materials that had been waiting in my staging area. Old tires were transformed into colorful planters adorned with flowers, adding splashes of vibrancy along the pathways. Upcycled plastic bottles became quirky decorations for certain holes, some fashioned into friendly characters or whimsical signs guiding players along their way. With each completed hole, my enthusiasm grew. The second hole featured a gentle slope leading down to a small pond-like area created from a shallow basin filled with stones and pebbles. It didn't take long before I found myself lost in creativity. Every obstacle had its own story waiting to be told through imaginative designs. One particularly challenging hole featured tunnels made from PVC pipes, players would have to navigate their shots carefully to avoid getting stuck. As installation progressed, unexpected challenges arose, as they often do in any DIY project. During construction of one obstacle, we realized that our measurements were slightly off, leading to an unstable structure. Rather than let frustration set in, we approached it as an opportunity to innovate. With some quick adjustments and creative problem-solving, we came up with a new design that not only fixed the issue, but also added an interesting twist that enhanced gameplay. By late afternoon on the first day of installation, several holes were complete, with vibrant colors popping against the green backdrop of my lawn. I paused for a moment to take it all in. What had once been an empty stretch of grass was now evolving into something truly special. The following days saw continued progress as friends joined me for construction parties, bringing food and enthusiasm while helping out wherever they could. Each person added their unique touch, whether it was painting bright designs on obstacles or sharing ideas for new features. It transformed into a community effort that mirrored my initial vision, creating a space where everyone could come together. As more elements came together, decorative flags waving in the breeze and playful signs directing players from hole to hole, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for everyone who contributed their time and energy. This project had blossomed far beyond just fulfilling an HOA requirement. It had become an expression of creativity and connection within our neighborhood. By the end of the week, I stood back and admired what we had accomplished together, a fully installed mini golf course ready for its debut. The course featured 9 uniquely themed holes that showcased imagination at every turn, from colorful ramps to quirky decorations that encouraged laughter while playing. I couldn't help but think back to that initial letter from the HOA. Their complaint about my plain lawn felt like a distant memory now. Instead of conforming to their expectations of traditional landscaping, I had created something entirely different, a whimsical playground filled with joy and laughter right outside my door. With everything complete and polished up for its grand opening day, excitement bubbled within me. Soon enough, friends and neighbors would gather for an unforgettable experience on this newly transformed lawn. As I prepared for that momentous occasion ahead, I reflected on how an HOA complaint had sparked such creativity, and how sometimes challenges can lead us toward unexpected adventures we never knew we needed. As the day of the grand opening approached, I could hardly contain my excitement. I had invited friends, family, and neighbors to come and experience the mini golf course that had transformed my once plain lawn into a vibrant playground. The anticipation buzzed in the air like summer fireflies, and I couldn't wait to see how everyone would react to this whimsical creation. On the day of the opening, I set up colorful banners and decorations around the course, creating an inviting atmosphere that beckoned people to join in the fun. Tables were adorned with snacks and refreshments, and a small speaker played upbeat music that added to the festive spirit. As guests began to arrive, their smiles and laughter filled the yard, instantly lifting my spirits. The first group of players stepped onto the course with wide eyes and curious expressions. As they made their way through each hole, I watched in delight as their initial skepticism quickly transformed into joy. "This is amazing," one neighbor exclaimed as they navigated the first hole, which featured a spinning windmill obstacle. Their enthusiasm was infectious, and soon others joined in, grabbing putters and competing for the best score. As laughter echoed throughout the yard, I felt a wave of pride wash over me. The hard work that had gone into creating this mini golf course was paying off in spades. Children ran from hole to hole with glee, while parents took turns playing alongside them, sharing in the excitement. It was heartwarming to witness families bonding over friendly competition, their interactions fueled by playful banter and lighthearted teasing. Throughout the day, I made sure to mingle with guests and gather feedback. Many expressed their admiration for how I had turned a simple lawn into an engaging space for everyone to enjoy. Comments ranged from compliments about the creativity behind each obstacle to appreciation for how accessible and inviting the course felt. "You've really outdone yourself," another neighbor said while trying out a hole decorated with upcycled materials. Some guests even began brainstorming ideas for future enhancements, suggestions for additional holes or themed events that could take place at the course. This sparked conversations about hosting neighborhood tournaments or community gatherings centered around mini golf. The idea of turning this space into a hub of activity filled me with excitement. It aligned perfectly with my original vision of fostering connections within our community. However, not everyone was immediately on board with the transformation. A couple of HOA members stopped by during the festivities, their expressions ranging from bemusement to mild disapproval as they surveyed what had once been a straightforward lawn. One member approached me cautiously, saying they hadn't expected such an extravagant installation in our neighborhood. I took this as an opportunity to share my journey, the initial complaint that had inspired this project, and how it had blossomed into something much more meaningful than mere aesthetics. I explained how this course aimed not just to entertain, but also to bring people together in ways that traditional landscaping never could. To my surprise, their demeanor softened as I spoke passionately about building community ties through playfulness and creativity. By sharing my story openly, I felt like I was bridging a gap between differing perspectives, the traditional expectations of HOA standards versus a fresh approach rooted in imagination and fun. After discussing it further, they agreed that while unconventional, there was something undeniably charming about my mini golf course. It had sparked joy among neighbors and created an engaging atmosphere that brought people together. As the sun began to set over our neighborhood, casting warm golden hues across the lawn, I found myself reflecting on how far this journey had come. What started as a complaint about being too plain had evolved into a vibrant celebration of creativity and community spirit, a reminder that sometimes taking risks can lead us toward beautiful outcomes we never anticipated. As guests continued to play well into the evening, laughter filled every corner of my yard. It echoed like music against fading daylight, a joyful symphony celebrating connection through shared experiences. Neighbors who may have merely exchanged pleasantries before were now engaging in conversations filled with excitement about future gatherings at this newfound space. By the end of the day, it became clear that my mini golf course had transcended mere entertainment. It had become a catalyst for forging stronger relationships among those living nearby. People left with smiles on their faces and plans for returning soon, some even suggesting themed nights or family tournaments down the line. The community reaction exceeded my wildest expectations. My plain lawn had transformed not only in appearance but also in purpose. It now served as a backdrop for laughter-filled memories waiting to be created together. Amidst all this joy, I realized that every challenge faced along this journey, from HOA complaints to construction hiccups, had ultimately led me here, creating something truly magical right outside my door. As the dust began to settle after the grand opening of my mini golf course, I couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and apprehension about how the Homeowners Association would respond to this unconventional transformation. While the community embraced the change enthusiastically, I knew that the HOA had specific standards and expectations regarding property appearances. The thought of their reaction loomed in the back of my mind. A few days after the opening, I received an email from the HOA, inviting me to attend their next board meeting. My heart raced as I read through the message. Would they commend my creativity, or was it likely that they would express discontent? I felt a surge of anxiety, but also a sense of determination. I was ready to defend my vision and explain how this project had brought our community closer together. On the day of the meeting, I arrived with a mixture of nervousness and excitement. The atmosphere was tense yet curious as board members gathered to discuss various neighborhood matters. As my turn approached, I took a deep breath, preparing myself to articulate the journey that led me to create the mini golf course. When my moment came, I stood before the board members and shared my story. I began by recounting their initial complaint about my plain lawn, how it had sparked a creative endeavor that ultimately led to the installation of a whimsical mini golf course. I spoke passionately about how this project wasn't merely an aesthetic choice. It was about building community spirit and providing a space for laughter and connection. The board listened intently as I highlighted how many neighbors had embraced this new addition, noting how it had fostered interactions among families who previously may not have known each other well. I shared anecdotes from the grand opening, laughter echoing across the yard, children running from hole to hole, and conversations sparking among neighbors who bonded over friendly competition. As I continued to speak, I noticed some board members nodding in agreement. I emphasized that while my installation might not fit traditional landscaping standards, it had transformed our neighborhood into a more vibrant and engaged community. This was no longer just my lawn. It had become a space for everyone to enjoy. However, as with many organizations, not all reactions were positive. After my presentation, one board member raised concerns about potential liability issues. They worried that having such an attraction could lead to accidents or injuries, thereby putting homeowners at risk. Another member expressed concern over whether this type of installation set a precedent that could encourage further deviations from established norms throughout the neighborhood. I anticipated these objections and came prepared with responses. I explained that safety measures were already in place. Paths were wide enough for easy access, obstacles were stable, and materials used were durable yet safe for all ages. Additionally, I proposed hosting community events where participants would sign waivers and receive safety briefings before playing. The discussion became animated as other board members chimed in with their perspectives. Some expressed admiration for creativity behind the project and acknowledged its positive impact on community bonding. "It's refreshing to see someone take initiative like this," one member remarked. "It brings character to our neighborhood." After a thorough discussion filled with differing viewpoints, it became clear that opinions within the board varied widely. It was encouraging to see some members recognizing the value of creativity and community spirit while still acknowledging concerns about safety and adherence to HOA guidelines. In closing, I proposed working collaboratively with the HOA to find common ground, a way to maintain safety while celebrating creativity. Perhaps we could establish guidelines for future projects that encourage imaginative installations while ensuring they align with overall community values. The meeting concluded without an immediate resolution but opened up channels for further dialogue between me and the HOA regarding my mini golf course and its place within our neighborhood's vision. As I left that evening, I felt hopeful. There was potential for growth on both sides, a chance for the HOA to embrace creativity while maintaining their standards. Over the following weeks, conversations continued between myself and select board members who were willing to engage in constructive discussions about possibilities for future projects in our community. We explored ways to strike a balance between individual expression and collective guidelines, ultimately aiming for harmony rather than conflict. Reflecting on this experience made me realize just how significant this journey had been, not only in terms of transforming my lawn, but also in fostering dialogue around creativity within structured environments like HOAs. What began as a complaint evolved into an opportunity for connection, a reminder that sometimes breaking free from conformity can lead us toward unexpected partnerships built on mutual understanding. As time went on, it became evident that both sides were willing to adapt. Instead of viewing each other as opposing forces, we could collaborate towards something greater, enhancing our community's character while respecting its established framework. The mini golf course stood not just as an attraction, but also as a symbol of progress, proof that embracing creativity could result in positive change even within traditionally rigid structures. As the weeks rolled on after the grand opening of my mini golf course, I found myself reflecting on the profound joy it had brought, not just to me, but to my entire community. The initial intention of transforming my plain lawn had blossomed into something far greater than I ever anticipated. It became a hub for laughter, connection, and shared experiences. Every weekend, families flocked to the course. Children's laughter echoed through the air as they gathered with friends and siblings, eagerly taking turns on each hole. I watched as they cheered each other on, their competitive spirits ignited by the friendly banter that filled the space. It was heartwarming to see kids of all ages come together, united by a love for play, and I often found myself joining in on the fun, relishing every moment. One afternoon, I decided to set up a themed event, Family Fun Day. I organized games that complemented the mini golf experience, everything from putting contests to scavenger hunts around the course. Neighbors and their children arrived in droves, excited to partake in the festivities. As I mingled with everyone, I felt a deep sense of fulfillment. This wasn't just my project anymore. It was a shared celebration of community spirit. Throughout the day, I caught snippets of conversations among families who hadn't previously interacted much. Parents exchanged gardening tips while watching their children play, and new friendships blossomed over shared laughter. The course had become a melting pot of interactions, a space where barriers dissolved and connections formed naturally. I also began hosting regular mini-golf tournaments, inviting neighbors to sign up for friendly competitions. These events encouraged players of all skill levels to participate and brought an element of excitement that kept everyone engaged. Some evenings turned into lively gatherings filled with food, music, and laughter as we celebrated not only victories on the course but also camaraderie off it. The sense of community engagement extended beyond just casual play. It sparked ideas for further collaboration among residents. My neighbor, who had expressed interest in gardening, proposed starting a neighborhood garden where each family could contribute their time and resources. Inspired by the success of my mini golf course in bringing people together, we began discussing how we could create additional spaces for gathering, places that encourage creativity and cooperation without adhering strictly to conventional aesthetics. As these plans developed, I realized how impactful this project had been, not only in terms of entertainment but also as a catalyst for fostering deeper relationships within our community. The mini golf course served as an example of how creativity could inspire collective action and lead to positive change in our neighborhood dynamics. I often heard stories from neighbors about how their children had formed bonds through mini golf that extended beyond the course itself. Playdates were arranged, impromptu barbecues sprang up, and even collaborative art projects emerged from those initial interactions at the course. This ripple effect reminded me of why I had embarked on this journey in the first place, to cultivate joy and togetherness within our community. On particularly busy weekends when families flocked to play, I made sure to step back and soak it all in. The vibrant energy buzzing through the air filled me with gratitude. The sight of children racing toward holes with smiles plastered across their faces, or parents laughing alongside them, illuminated every corner of my yard with warmth and joy. Moreover, engaging with my neighbors provided me with invaluable insights into their lives. Stories about their backgrounds, dreams for the future, and aspirations for our community emerged during casual conversations while waiting for turns at different holes. It deepened my appreciation for those around me. Each person had unique experiences that contributed to our shared tapestry. As summer progressed into fall, I decided to host a harvest festival at the mini golf course, complete with seasonal decorations and pumpkin-themed activities. Families eagerly participated in crafting decorations together while enjoying warm cider and treats from local bakeries. The atmosphere was festive. Laughter filled every nook as we celebrated not only the changing seasons but also newfound friendships forged through shared experiences. By creating this engaging space in my front yard, one that encouraged interaction, I discovered something transformative. Joy multiplies when shared with others. What began as a response to an HOA complaint turned into an opportunity for connection, a reminder that embracing creativity can lead us toward unexpected adventures filled with love. The mini golf course became synonymous with happy memories, an embodiment of what we could achieve collectively when we let go of preconceived notions about conformity. With each family who played around or participated in an event, I felt reassured that we were building something beautiful together, a legacy rooted in joy, connection, and community engagement that would endure long after summer faded into autumn. In those moments filled with laughter and camaraderie at my mini golf course, I realized that sometimes breaking free from tradition can lead us down paths we never envisioned, transforming not just our surroundings but also deepening relationships within our communities along the way. As I reflected on the journey that began with a complaint for the HOA about my too-plain lawn, I realized just how much I had learned throughout this entire experience. What started as a simple desire to address a criticism transformed into an adventure filled with creativity, community engagement, and personal growth. The lessons I gathered along the way have become invaluable, deeply shaping both my perspective and my relationship with my neighbors. One of the most significant lessons learned is the power of creativity in overcoming challenges. Initially, when faced with the HOA's demands, I felt boxed in by their expectations. However, instead of succumbing to frustration or merely conforming to their standards, I embraced the opportunity to think outside the box. Installing a mini golf course was not just a solution to their complaint. It became a celebration of imagination and ingenuity. This experience taught me that sometimes adversity can lead us to discover our hidden passions and strengths. Another important lesson was the significance of community connection. Throughout this process, I witnessed firsthand how shared experiences could unite people from diverse backgrounds. The mini golf course became a gathering place where laughter echoed and friendships blossomed. It highlighted the importance of fostering relationships within our neighborhoods and reminded me that we thrive when we come together to support one another. The joy derived from those interactions reinforced my belief that community engagement is essential for building a vibrant and inclusive environment. Moreover, I discovered the value of collaboration, both in planning and execution. From seeking input from friends during the design phase to welcoming neighbors who volunteered during construction, this project was never a solo endeavor. Each person who contributed added their unique touch, creating something far greater than I could have achieved alone. This experience reaffirmed that collective efforts often yield richer results. When we invite others to participate in our visions, we foster a sense of ownership and pride within the community. In addition to these broader lessons, I also recognized practical skills that emerged during this journey. The research phase taught me about budgeting, sourcing materials creatively, and navigating DIY projects effectively. I learned how to problem solve on the fly, adapting designs when obstacles arose or reworking plans based on available resources. These skills not only empowered me throughout this project, but also equipped me for future endeavors, whether they be home improvement projects or other creative pursuits. As I consider the relationship with the HOA now, once strained by their initial complaints, I realize that open dialogue remains crucial for navigating differences in perspectives. My willingness to engage with them about my mini golf course paved the way for mutual understanding and respect. Rather than viewing them solely as enforcers of rules, I began to see them as partners in cultivating our community's character. By fostering communication and expressing my intentions clearly, I opened doors for collaboration that extended beyond my project alone. Looking back at everything that transpired, I feel immense gratitude for how this journey unfolded. What began as an ordinary lawn transformed into a vibrant space filled with laughter, creativity, and connections, a testament to what can be accomplished when one dares to break free from convention. It's exciting to think about how many more adventures lie ahead now that these lessons are firmly embedded within me. As I move forward, I plan to continue nurturing this spirit of creativity not just in my yard but within our neighborhood as well, finding new ways to promote engagement and foster collaboration among residents. The mini golf course will serve as an ongoing reminder of what's possible when we embrace our unique visions while inviting others along for the ride. In closing, this experience has taught me that sometimes it takes a little push, a complaint or challenge, to spark incredible transformation in our lives. By embracing creativity and prioritizing community engagement, we can turn obstacles into opportunities for growth and connection. So here's to all those who dare to dream big. Remember, sometimes it's not about conforming to expectations, but rather breaking free from them that leads us toward meaningful change, both within ourselves and in the world around us.